Welcome to this special at-home edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. You're seeing my in-home studio for the very first time. Got Patrick right behind me. That was from a game I covered many, many years ago at Arrowhead Stadium. And we got a lot to talk about here on today's show. We'll get to an injury update on Marquise Brown from last night against the Jags, and also talk about the possibility of a return for JuJu Smith-Schuster. That has been the rumblings around the kingdom for the last 12 hours since the injury to Hollywood Brown. With JuJu getting released by the Patriots, could he potentially step in? We'll talk about all that and more coming up on today's show. Let's begin first with the injury to Hollywood Brown. Last night, he had one catch for 11 yards and had 2 total targets on the night. And if you look at this injury, here's the details of it. He suffered a posterior sternoclavicular joint dislocation. I think I said that right. That was a mouthful. I'm no expert by any stretch of the imagination on this, so take it for what you will. But from everything I've looked at with this injury, despite him going to the hospital and all that last night and the initial scares from this situation, anytime you go to a hospital, obviously that's going to raise some eyebrows and there's going to be some nerves, and rightfully so. It sounds like that this injury is anywhere in the range of a week to 4 weeks that he could be out at a minimum at this point. So it's not as bad as we initially thought, which is very good news for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see what the update we get from Andy Reid and the medical staff there with the Chiefs, but we can kind of breathe a sigh of relief that this is not worse than what it could have been as far as that goes. So that's very good news when it comes to Hollywood Brown. Now the idea of bringing JuJu in. JuJu just got released by the New England Patriots. And you would have to think that at this point in his career, coming off a season where he had 29 catches for 260 yards and just 1 touchdown last year, he is not going to cost you a ton. And the Chiefs do have plenty of cap space to spend. They could bring JuJu in if they wanted to. But for me, I don't think you have to do this since this injury is not as bad as we initially thought. Obviously, there's talk about a suspension for Rashee Rice coming, and we'll see how quickly Xavier Worthy comes along and all that. But to me, I don't think you have to go get JuJu. If you want to get JuJu, I'm not going to be mad about it. If that's what Brett Veach and Andy want to do, by all means, I trust them. They've earned the right to do whatever the hell they want to do. But I don't think you have to do that. I think we can kind of wait and see where Hollywood's at, and hopefully he gets back to the field soon. What do you guys think? Should the Chiefs sign JuJu Smith-Schuster? We'll dive more into it, talk about JuJu here in just a moment, but what do you guys think? Type Y for yes, N for no. Way in the comment section, tell us what you think. Folks, this is why you subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report. It's my off day today. Doesn't matter. We're still bringing you Kansas City Chiefs content here on the channel each and every day. And if you like my in-home studio, get used to it because I'll be doing more content right here from this very seat anytime we have breaking news here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Doesn't matter if it's my off day, if I'm not in the office, I'll sit in this very seat and I'll bring you an update on what's going on with your Kansas City Chiefs here on the channel here. So if you can do me a favor, if you have not already subscribed, I would certainly appreciate it if you subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Just as a simple thank you for us bringing you content, even on our off days here at Chat Sports. You can subscribe for free. We got some great stuff ahead. I got my first watch party here on the channel coming up next weekend, and we'll continue to bring you daily updates, what's going on with Hollywood Brown and all that right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. All right, back to the JuJu front, if you will. So JuJu was a part of a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs. Just a couple of years ago. We all remember what happened in that game against the Eagles in the infamous holding penalty on James Bradbury and all that. JuJu played a significant role on that Chiefs team. But then he goes to the New England Patriots, who were just a hot mess last year. That team was just an absolute dumpster fire. a disaster. Their offensive line was horrible. The quarterbacks were horrible. And JuJu struggled to stay healthy and had some of the worst numbers of his entire career last year, 29 catches, 260 yards, and a touchdown. I personally am of the belief that JuJu is cooked at this point. I don't think JuJu has much left to offer. And I thought the Chiefs made the right move last offseason of not paying him the money that he got from the New England Patriots. And obviously the Patriots regret it, ultimately releasing him and letting him go. So things worked out pretty good for the Chiefs, and they still won a Super Bowl without JuJu in the mix there, the way Rashee Rice and others developed. So I don't think you need to go get JuJu. But if Brett Veach and Andy Reid are sitting here saying to themselves, you know what? He's out there. He's not going to cost a ton, and he knows our system, and he's played with Patrick and Travis and all that. Maybe Patrick even steps up and says, I want JuJu. If they do, and you can get him at a cheap cost like we think, I'm not going to be mad about it. It's just not something I'd recommend. And I know what some of you are going to think, that, well, we'll see when Hollywood returns. What's the suspension for Rashee Rice potentially going to be and all that? But, this Chiefs team always finds a way, right? And let's say, for all intents and purposes, you roll into week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens, all right, on that Thursday night game, putting up the banner and everything, and you don't have Hollywood and you don't have Rashee Rice. Well, I still got Xavier Worthy out there. I still got Travis Kelce out there. Still got Pacheco and company. You're going to make work. You're going to be okay. And if it is short-term for Hollywood, if it's not as bad as what we think, what we thought last night, then you can get through this and get him back there. But it also raises another question, too. I think it's a fair thing to ask. Andy is the best coach in the National Football League. I'm a big Andy Reid fan. But what were they thinking playing some of these starters last night that we saw? Patrick included. Obviously Marquise Brown and others. Like, one of the things that we've seen across the NFL when it comes to the preseason is not playing your starters. That has certainly dropped off across the board since they went to 3 preseason games. And, we would be having a whole different conversation right now if Hollywood didn't play last night. He wouldn't be banged up. He'd be just fine. And so while I love and respect and adore Andy, and I hardly ever question the decisions he makes, I do wonder, why? This was avoidable last night. That's what sucks about all this. This situation the Chiefs are in, they're sure, I know he's a new body involved, and maybe you wanted to get a feel for how he is in this offense and everything, and that's fine. But, at what cost, right? What cost? Was it really worth it to stick him out there and have this injury come up? I don't think so. If I'm Andy Reid the rest of the preseason, Mahomes, you're done. Kelce, you're done. Pacheco, all these main guys, yeah, we're not risking more of you to get hurt in the preseason. It's just simply not worth it. I love Andy, I do. Don't get me wrong, and I hate to disagree with Andy, but I've seen enough. We know that this offense is lethal. We know what they're capable of. And Hollywood was getting plenty of reps in camp practices and all that. I just didn't need to see him or some of these other guys last night. And that's what sucks, is that this didn't need to happen, didn't need to go this way. So that's what I'm looking at. What's your concern level right now with the Hollywood Brown injury? They say it's a similar injury to what Tyreek Hill had a few years ago for the Chiefs, ironically enough, against the Jags. What's your concern level? I'm going to put it at about a 6 right now, because it doesn't sound like he's going to be out terribly long, and the Chiefs have other guys they can work with. But thankfully, it's not a lot worse. Weigh in. Let us know in the comment section where your concern level is for this injury to Hollywood Brown right now. Folks, thanks for joining us on this special at-home edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. We'll be back in studio tomorrow with plenty of Kansas City Chiefs coverage as we'll put a bow on the preseason game from yesterday and a look to the week ahead as we got plenty of Kansas City Chiefs conversation coming up. So stay tuned for that. As always, subscribe for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV for continuing Chiefs coverage. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.